From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Sulaiman Aleda.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, National Conference delegates seek a change of perception by Nigerians, call for a united Nigeria. Federal lawmakers in the Senate reject INEC proposal to conduct general elections in one day. "21 people killed after vehicle carrying suspected terrorist heading for an NNPC facility in Maiduguri explodes. And Nigeria assumes presidency of the United Nations Security Council.
And on business news tonight, the presidency promises full implementation of the 2014 budget when finally passed into law.
On sports news tonight, as part of efforts to curb age cheats, the Nigeria Football Federation insists the Golden Eaglets will be subjected to the MRI test before representing the country.
I'm Linda Akibe, and from Abuja, National Human Rights Commission pushes for better detention facilities across the country.
Delegates to the National Conference seem to be making progress as members call for a new mindset and approach to ensure that the task of creating a new Nigeria is accomplished. This was a major position that was put forward by the delegates as a continued discussion of the President's speech while inaugurating the conference. Although the discussion may take a few days, the delegates say it is a key part of the conference. But the major high point of the day's deliberation was when a university professor referred to the Sardauna of Sokoto as a Fulani, which a colleague delegate from the north did not take lightly. Our correspondent Larry Lasisi has this report.
The plenary session for the second day of the week had just one item on the other paper, the continuation of the debate on the president's inaugural speech. The delegates were given 3 minutes to speak on the speech in alphabetical order, and they focused on different aspects of the speech.
We all want to see a positively transformed Nigeria. I therefore urge all of us to work individually and collectively so as to set the right agenda for Nigeria of our dream. A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in.
The review of Justice Belgori's committee, where he reviewed all the conferences and the outstanding issues. And I think on page 7 of that report, there are 15 issues on which we had consensus. And if we can start from that, we'll make a lot of progress.
One of the things that the president raised was the issue of decision making. And he emphatically said in page 13 that voices of people must be heard in decision making. And I want to inch my point more on that. I think one of our biggest problems is that we need to revert power to the people. As it is today, with the governance structure that we have in Nigeria, the power is not with the people.
The discussion went smoothly with just a slight incident.
There was a dialogue between Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe and the Sardauna of Sokoto. But Sardauna of Sokoto reminded him that it is impossible for us to forget our differences. And he put it to him, you are Igbo, Easterner, and a Christian. I am Fulani, Muslim, and Northerner. We have differences.
Sardauna play with the Fulani. Sardauna can never call himself Fulani. But we sit here to hear a professor telling us a story that many of us here could not believe. So that is the garbages they preach our students.
It shall be out of order to use offensive and insulting language during sittings, either at plenary or in committee. The last speaker used the word garbage on lecturers in Nigerian universities, imparting garbage to students. The speaker must be called to order, Mr. Chairman.
I uphold the meet, and I think I appeal to all the delegates to take that on board.
Looking back at the proceedings for the day, delegates were satisfied with the progress made. They also say the discussion on the speech of the president is vital.
From the very troubling couple of days we had, I think we're beginning to now stabilize and perhaps prepare more for the fundamental debates which will generate the documents that will, of course, be turned out from this conference.
But I feel that we should have asked those who wish to comment instead of moving from one person to the other. But of course, the chairman did throw it to the floor, and members decided that each of them wants to speak.
If each delegate will speak for 30 minutes, rather than the ones that will be raising up our hands and people would not see, and the leadership might not recognize one, but it has given the opportunity to everybody, at least to say that I was at a conference at a particular time and I spoke.
It's important that the speech is discussed because it's giving us the room to bring out those silent points and those issues that people are worried about, and people are using it as an opportunity to ventilate, which is also good.
The discussion is to continue on Wednesday. It's not clear when this debate will be completed, as a lot of delegates are yet to speak. But having started from the first delegate, they must hear from the very last delegate. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
We'll stay in Abuja, this time within the Red Chamber. The federal lawmakers and the Senate have rejected a proposal to hold general elections in one day. During a debate to amend the Electoral Act, senators kicked against holding the elections in one day, describing it as a move to throw the country into confusion and compound the electoral process. The lawmakers also rejected a proposal to empower the Independent National Electoral Commission to adopt electronic voting for the 2015 general elections. Our correspondent, Lara Lasese, again has to...
3 bills were presented on the floor of the Senate. The 3 had to do with amendment of the Electoral Act. With less than 1 year to the 2015 general elections, federal lawmakers are in a race against time to get these bills, which may improve the electoral process, passed. Senator Abu Ibrahim is the sponsor of one of the bills, which seeks to amend the Electoral Act to provide for elections to hold on the same day. The majority of the lawmakers rejected this amendment.
Indeed, staggered elections are not cost-effective and is not cost-efficient. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, taking a look at the colossal amount of money with which INEC executed staggered elections 2011 and all previous elections in the country, this can be reduced by a third, taking into consideration 3 election weeks, which will now hold on just 1 day, going by our proposed amendment.
INEC itself has repeatedly said, and in the same lecture that I attended, the chairman of INEC also said the same thing, that INEC does not have the logistic capacity to conduct elections in 1 day.
Holding all elections in 1 day will be a recipe for confusion, a big recipe. It's not that anybody is afraid of losing an election.
Another bill, which was sponsored by the Deputy Senate President, seeks to amend the Electoral Act to provide for the tenure of the office of the Secretary of INEC and determine voting procedure. According to the Deputy Senate President, the bill seeks to grant INEC the latitude to use electronic voting system when it has capacity to do so.
This bill therefore seeks to increase the number of days provided for INEC
to 1, conduct a rerun election from 7 to 21 days. 2, to receive and treat application for transfer of voters' cards from 30 to 60 days.
It is not really what we put down on paper that is going to make the difference. It's the capacity of INEC to do a free and fair election with minimal logistical problems that will make all the difference.
The bills passed second reading and have been sent to the Constitutional Review Committee for further legislative work. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
Well, the lawmakers under the platform of All Progressives Party, the APC, have rejected the judgment of the Abuja High Court asking them to resign. The minority whip of the House, Honorable Samson Osagie, who spoke on behalf of the legislators today, said beyond appealing the judgment in the higher court, the lawmakers believe that Justice Adeni Ademola, who delivered the judgment, merely expressed an opinion on the matter that was not before him.